Hello and welcome to Wizard Living is Supreme. For those that are just joining, my name is A-Rye or Alex Ryan, um, and I am a computer scientist, cybersecurity professional, and and junior system administrator currently in title, but in title only. We still all refer to each other as system admins, but pay rate and working for a nonprofit, etc., etc. Not a big deal. Not a hit to my ego, but I mean, actually, no. In fact, it is actually accurate because my only professional. Sorry, I feel like I need to get this out of the way to prove credibility and to kind of explain a little bit about what this even is. Oh, well, I mean, that was a temple I'm building, so that's pretty cool. And an intro. Actually, did an intro. And the level is coincidence, but it is funny. I had a little chuckle. But anyways, no, computer scientist and cybersecurity professional, or just someone that's passionate about helping others. There you go. I was trying to remember my LinkedIn tagline, but it's true. I mean, throughout my life, I've found myself, you know, either asked to be in or put into positions of trust or power or leadership. Um, Stemming back from getting the Optimist Award as a little kid to being Hefe for our group in Costa Rica for a school trip, um, to being an assistant manager at Subway for 5 years, all through college, to being a resident manager of an apartment complex I lived at, while being, I don't know, basically glorified security that could call the cops but never really did. Yeah. Anyways, we can talk about that another time. But um, and it's funny watching mafia movies and stuff, and like what was it, the Goodfellas. There you go. And how they were the police for the people that couldn't go to the police, and that's very true. Like people that end up being finding themselves involved in illegal activities or illicit behavior, um, tend to find that they have to conceal that, and then they start to see, well, it's kind of a madhouse in this world of other people concealing other things, which really we shouldn't be to that point anyway. We should get to a society where criminal activity is not even a thing on anyone's radar because it's just not necessary. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Shortcuts, basically. A lot of it is shortcuts. Now, however, with the war on drugs, and that's one of the biggest things that we'll talk about in this series, is the war on drugs and how it was an accidental oversight that caused a lot of problems, solved some problems, yes, short-term problems, short-term solutions, putting band-aids on issues. But now that we can afford both financially and time-wise and feasibility, we can train people to be counselors and to be tech savvy very easily. Not very easily, but like doable. And it doesn't even cost anything. And again, I'm proof that as I continue to improve my own educational materials, I will teach computer science, programming, coding logic, problem solving, all that stuff just for fun. And I'm not, I'm one of many too. Like watch, there's Anthony Wright's Code on Twitch, and I need to get back into Twitch because that's really where it's at. But I needed to fix some technical problems. Like I didn't have the best streams because my internet wasn't that reliable. So it would be nice to get a hard line to a router, or even duplicate routers so that my signal is boosted and it's good, or what have you. Or there are things that I could be doing. In fact, there's even this project that I started to do that I saw online for an antenna that some guy in Russia or something, or Belarus or some random place that, like, no offense, I never mean offense to anybody or disrespect. I'm just using these as, well, education, basically. Education and relaxation. That's why we're playing Minecraft. We're building things, we're doing things. Um, in fact, I'm going to go ahead and start building and processing things while we talk about all these issues. So, but yeah, everything from politics to religion, all the taboo subjects to why it makes sense, why it doesn't, including, brief understandings of history, Western civilization, Eastern civilization, which of I know almost next to nothing, by the way, but let's see. Let's go ahead and just take that for now. I don't even know what all I'm going to be building, but I know I'm going to be building a bunch of things. And so, anyways, and this Minecraft world represents as like basically a giant whiteboard for all of my ideas, my projects, and not even mine. Like I want to have lists of things that other people are doing. And I want to start this season off by saying my favorite statue or my favorite saying is something I don't even really remember. I'd have to go back to campus, but it's on Colorado State University campus, of which I'm an alumni of 2016 in applied computing technology. So a little background. I got my undergrad from there, and I did a boot camp in cybersecurity through there as well online. But anyways, the statue on campus, right over by the chemistry building, says, "I saw what I saw because I stood on the shoulders of giants." And that's very important because it needs to be said that we as a people will achieve much greater things than as individuals. So cooperation, working in concert, in tandem, oops, supporting each other, helping each other, doing these things is going to lead to the maximized prosperity and happiness for everyone. That's the end goal here. We need comfortable living for the poorest, the weakest, the most downtrodden, for whatever reason. Doesn't matter. I mean, so much of the quote unquote evils in the world are caused by accident, by unintended consequences of policy, of ideas, of belief, all these things. They're all connected. So, and that's getting pretty deep. Basically, pot good, alcohol bad, religion good, but hurting people for religion bad, law and order good, but punishment being worse than the crime bad are the main concepts. And that's why I talk about the war on drugs a lot, probably the most, because good intentions at heart. Let's go ahead and trim these and process some bone meal. Anyways, it was good intentioned, but it's ending up causing a lot more problems than it's solving, and everybody at all levels of the process are aware of this. Department of Corrections, law enforcement, like everybody. I've talked to all walks of life, like all on the way, and then the people on the other side of the bars too. Like getting the opinions and the conversations with people affected by the war on drugs on the receiving end of the business. And that's what it is. It's business. It's jobs created on paper, good policy, good politics, and the politicians, it's hard for them to see on the ground level, like, oh wait, ooh, this is actually pretty bad. For instance, like arresting people for pot and putting them in jail for pot, therefore introducing them to other people that are in dark parts of their lives for, I don't know, murder or assaulting or sex crimes or some like stuff that's really heinous and that almost everybody can agree needs to stop. I mean, the only people that wouldn't agree that needs to stop are the ones that are possibly doing it or contemplating it. But and there's multiple ways to approach a problem too. Like a lot of our problem solving is reactive. Like the thing happens, the crime happens, and then next thing you know, oh, what do we do? Oh, throw them in prison, shelve them for a bit, teach them a lesson, put them in timeout for about multiple years. Whereas we're finding there's much better tools and consequences and things that can be done. All right, let's actually just keep building onto this temple, and maybe we'll make floating like little mini temples. But like while we're just musing and rambling here, in fact, let's see where we at. Oh yeah, we're just getting started. So basically, this playlist builds off of a lot of other playlists I've done, and I will continue to try to improve that as well. Better recording equipment, better editing, better. I mean, already, like, I know there's a way to publish videos quietly, and then once they're ready, like, ta-da! But the thing is I don't know when they're going to be ready, so I just leave them raw and barely edited up for people to enjoy. I mean, actually, I don't know. I could die tomorrow. I could get hit by a bus, like, and things could remain unsaid that could actually benefit somebody, maybe elicit some policy change, or just convince people or coach them on how to be a better person. Because we all need it. I mean, nobody is just born with like, oh, got everything figured out. Bye. See ya. I mean, that doesn't work out. People run away and join the circus. That used to be a thing. Now I don't even think there's like circuses for runaways to join, and let alone the runaways can't really be runaways for long. But anyways, we're fixing a lot of these problems. But when I was growing up, it was commonplace to hear stories about, oh, they ran away to join the circus. That was like a legit thing to do. So no, and it usually never ends up, or it doesn't end up being all that great for them. They have like weird stories and not always bad, but thinking like the Joker in Gotham, like that series. I don't know. Anyways, human thinking. It's important to be aware of a lot of stories, movies, TV shows, because that is the culmination of human thought and creativity, basically explaining the human condition, human problem solving, and all that. And if it sounds weird that I'm saying human, it's because I really should be saying man, but man should refer to both sexes. And then the genders should be like, there's just a few communication gaps that we need to bridge for a lot of people to kind of rest easier, be like, oh, okay, that makes more sense. Because as is in politics, we'll talk quite a bit about that. And unfortunately, it is a prickly subject that also when I was growing up, we agreed to disagree. Like there's a lot of my family on both sides of the political spectrum, and it's like both extremes, I guess. And even they weren't extreme themselves, but it's hard not to bring up the more extreme points, whether or not you really feel all that invested in concern with them, is because a lot of them are shocking, like shock elements. Like, what was it here in Colorado? We had a mayor or a Congress. See, congressman should mean heman or woman. In fact, I think heman should be a word or something. Doesn't have to be heman, but just something for males. And then women still be women. And then man can just mean human, because human's too awkward. And just man to refer to males has led to an accidental patriarchy, at least in my opinion. From what I've seen from Christianity, I was raised Methodist, was in church a lot growing up. I mean, just frequently, every week. I mean, I did what was expected. But I was also in confirmation class where I had to be confirmed to become a member of the church. I had to learn so much about the Bible and what Christianity really was. I mean, what the main points were. And then I took that and I just kind of, interpreted it how I wanted. Like, I was like, okay, that makes sense. And just like Methodists with Catholicism, like Catholics are very um, strict to following, and they're loosening now, but like originally, it's always been like Catholics were like, this is the law, this is the rote word, there's no need to change. Why would you want to change anything? This is God's word. This is, and now we're starting to realize that maybe not so much. I mean, and even if God said these things at that point in creation, if God exists too, that's a big disclaimer. Like, I'm what you would call a skeptical Christian. I believe there's a lot of good things in these Bibles and Qurans and um, Torah and like all the religious texts. They have some good things in them. They have a lot of weird stuff in there too that's not really relevant or um, doesn't make sense, for today's life, today's world, and an intermixed world. And from what I've seen, it just looks like a bunch of people's best attempts at a guidebook to living. Like, hey, if you want to live a good life, if you want to make sure your neighbor lives a good life, and your neighbor's neighbor lives a good life, do these things. Don't steal, don't kill, don't lie, don't cheat, don't drink too much alcohol. That's in there. Like, don't imbibe too much in alcohol. Now, it doesn't say much about like crack or heroin or meth or any of that stuff because guess what? They didn't have it back then. They just went with what they knew and like don't abuse things that can make you act different than you should. Like if they can dull your senses or skew your decision making, like, and honestly, alcohol is the worst out of all of them. Like none of them are good. Like you don't make, although I would argue cannabis is kind of an exception. I think people make much better decisions at least having some cannabis in their system or THC or even the CBD. Like there's like stuff that doesn't, it's not like necessarily psychoactive and gets you stoned. It's just chemicals found in the cannabis and marijuana plant. However you want to say it too, because that's another thing is like people that continue to call it marijuana nowadays, and especially with the immigrant situation, kind of like the anti-Hispanic movement of immigrants, dirty, people illegal, all that. I'm not saying I disagree with all of that too, by the way. My stance is we build a bunch of hotels on the border, let the people come, stay, process, like get the respect they deserve as people, be able to take a shower, get maybe some clean clothes for them, or whatever, or provide laundry. I mean, they probably got some clothes with them, like they packed something, you know, or whatever. Like make it more feasible for people to be successful. And it's just a small upfront investment on our end. And that's why I keep trying to like convince Trump to do it because that like all it would take is, oh hey Trump, I'll bet you can't do this, and like you just Huckleberry Finned one of the wealthiest people in the world, not wealthiest but very wealthy. I keep hearing like anywhere from 3 billion to like hundreds of billions. Like I don't even know. Anything past a million just seems insane in my mind. Like I've been functioning on less than 100K a year, as it should be too, because it's not sustainable to think that everybody can be millionaires. But at the same time, it's also not feasible to think that your family wealth is going to continue to just stay within your family and you're going to continue to grow and realize increased profits and whatnot. Actually, I think I need to split this. Wondering if I should do like a uniform, like, because this is cool, and then it should have like, I don't know, maybe I could build multiple temples because I'm thinking like putting like a flat section. Yeah, let's do that. In fact, let's finish this row because I already started, and then we'll do some slabs. But anyways, I don't know. A lot of it's just misunderstanding communication. I mean, communicating that just because you starred in a Hollywood movie and you did a really good thing for humanity and then nothing else, like, no, that's not fair that you just get to, like, look down on others. And the biggest thing, like, I love Jim Carrey. I love his movies. He was a great actor. He provided me a lot of joy. And he did some great commencement speeches too. I watched one of those. But I saw a quote from him, and at least I think it was from him. So this could be completely unfair. And I apologize to Jim, if this is the case. I'm not trying to be like, oh, look at this prick over here, like, blah, blah, blah. He didn't donate all his money away to stuff, and now he's a jerk. And like, no, no, definitely not like that. And that's what we need to go away from, is to understand that people are people, no matter how wealthy or how whatever. Like as much as I hate that thing where they spelled it out, the yachts. It's like we're all in this together. Like, well, yeah. No matter how rich you are, you still live on the same planet. You're beholden to the same laws of physics and consequences of pollution and human activity and the real stuff too. That's the other thing. Is like I feel like we need to be able to communicate things like that well enough to where no matter what you've been told or heard, like all the spin, the political spin and stuff, we can just get the facts and be like, yeah, this is how serious the problem is. This would help, and this is what we should be doing. And just present it in a very calm, emotionless manner to where people aren't screaming and yelling at each other like, ah, you stupid Republican, or ah, you stupid Democrat, or you libtard, or you MAGA, or there's all sorts of really mean, nasty things that people are saying to each other, myself included. I mean, I'm not perfect. I've said some of those things, not recently. I've learned my mistakes and I'm trying to improve on the way I interact with people, but it's really easy to slip into that because it's like, oh man, this person's disrespecting me. They don't know me. Like, and it's just, it all comes down to respect. If you can't respect your fellow person, then, there's a problem. Like, and you have to understand and trust that they are a person. They're not some alien or some like mud dweller or some other species or whatever we think. Like every human being, unless there's actually like some problem or like some like injury or something that hinders the way that their brain functions, every human is capable of everything else. There is no special gene, no special superpower, no special, like, oh, you can fly, or oh, you can bend steel beams, or no. I mean, and if that existed, we would totally exploit that for the benefit of all humankind. But it's the problem of real and perceived, like, if we're actually getting our own needs met, that's kind of what kind of runs into a lot of that. It makes it a problem anyway. Let's see, am I going to lose? A few dirt clods, but we'll finish up the stairs that I had been doing. That's cool. Wasn't sure. Oh, so, but anyways, and just how do you communicate that to people? How do you communicate that we're all in this together? We're all people, and we all bleed, we all breathe, we all feel emotions. We all need respect. We all need to be treated like the adults that we are. Or if we're not an adult, we still need to be treated with the respect that a kiddo should be respected with. Like, kiddos should still be nurtured for, taken care of at all costs. Like, we need to protect the future of this existence in a way that's conducive to a long term of existing. I don't know. I like existing. I don't know about you, but I think it's pretty neat. So, anyways, uh, just really dumbing it down there, and not dumbing it down, like implying that people are inherently dumb, but maybe making it to where people that don't spend a lot of time, effort, money, research, thinking on certain subjects aren't bombarded with anger and see that's the problem that right now and like we'll talk about some of my personal stuff too. We're trying to remain anonymous because I don't want to for exactly that reason. I don't want to show any disrespect to the people that are in my life and the people that aren't too, because I mean this could resonate with someone else and be like, wow, I feel publicly attacked or personally attacked, like I feel like he's talking to me, and yeah, very well could in some situations. Let's see, let's actually make like a whole, I don't know, I want to say like we could build mini temples. Because at the top, that is the respect shown to the people that I've lost in my life. This is going to be a memorial to the people that I've known that have passed on, died, passed away, gone over the Rainbow Bridge. I mean, it's just an empty shell right now, but like I'm starting to. In fact, I should continue to extend it this way and just build. Yeah, I know, like I'm taking away habitat for nature, but and they can come in and live, hang out in the temple, and then go do other things. In fact, I plan on planting trees and stuff in here, and that's why I'm like not completely committed to making all of this temple, but I don't know. We'll figure that out. Like it's kind of a hybrid. Hmm. But anyways, yeah, I definitely want like I don't know. It all seems so cool. But anyways, yeah, people will people and people deserve respect. That's it. That's all it comes down to is people deserve respect and it needs to be said when people aren't respecting others why that is and we need to fix it. So, and politics is just like the easiest to point at and be like, because it makes people absolutely nuts. Like the fact that people are controlling what you can and can't do in your life, like it's restricting freedom potentially. Like now, whether that's real or perceived, there's a lot of debate, and that's why we need what Colorado does is we have blue books. Every election or every time we vote on something, we do a blue book on it, and it's like it tries to explain what's going on with something, like why is something the way it is, and yeah. So, for instance, if you're voting on like an increase in taxes on this, like I don't even know how to make a good example. There's so many different ways that um, things can be funded and things can be contributed on. Because ultimately, yes, like we need to come together and pool our resources to ensure other people have better lives. But it's just how to go about that. And it's easier for people to say stuff like that, like, oh, yeah, that makes sense, when they've actually been on the receiving end of some business that's like, oh, now I have no money, or I have no home, or I've got a problem, like I need help and all this. And then it's like, oh, or my family member needs help. They're in it in a bad way. When I always thought, well, they aren't that, they're not dumb. They're smart. They're responsible. They work hard. Like, by all, definitions of all that, they should have a good, comfortable life. Then why don't they? What is this? And we'll even get into like, Hitler, slavery, like all of the other things, not justifying it, but just explaining how something so evil, something so bad could happen. I mean, making somebody do work for you and like and whipping them and like because slavery is horrible. Like American slavery especially, but there's been slavery all throughout history. Like there's tons of instances of um, times where human beings were forced to do work for other human beings and not get paid. Like that's about it. And we have modern slavery with inmates right now, which are mostly substance abuse offenses. So people trying to seek the American dream, make themselves happy, taking a shortcut to artificial happiness, which is what drugs and substances do. They put chemicals in your brain that mimic the same times when like I don't know, when you see your baby being born, your brain releases chemicals like when a lot about raising kids and stuff. And as a parent I can vouch like the endorphins that get released when you just see your kid doing something cute or being nice or polite. Traversely or conversely or whatever it is, like in the opposite, there's other times where it's like you get mad because you're like, wow, I'm raising such a little jerk or something, or oh my gosh, they're gonna be so mean, like I gotta fix this. And but anyways, or even you answer the call to wild, like your brain gets signals, endorphins, or exercising. That's a good one. Exercising, your brain releases chemicals like yes, you're doing good, you're moving your body, which is makes you healthy. I mean, exercise, everybody should be exercising. I need to do more. I try to do it during lunch, but like I used to do it a lot more. Like run the Boulder every year, which was a 10K, or go to the gym and lift weights and get the blood flowing. Like all of it's important. You really should be doing all of it, like cardio and weight training. But you also got to know your limits, so it's complicated. But that's why we have public school teachers and coaches and sports teams and all of these things. I hope to coach one day, some capacity, but we have people that are looking out for other people, trying to make that or help them live healthy. So, and as I say that, my football coach for the longest time was not super healthy. I mean, at least in that regard. Like he was kind of overweight. I think I even saw that he lost his leg to I want to say diabetes. Like I feel like that's usually an explanation. Like I don't think he went and stepped on no landmine. Like I mean, he's missing a leg, and I want to say, and like he looks a lot thinner, so I feel good. Like I think that he's making some healthier choices now. But I mean, and it's hard too. Like I don't make the healthiest choices all the time, and I've been trained. Like I was on the Body for Life diet as a kid. I was a chubbier kid, and my parents wanted me to not be chubby. So they encouraged exercise. They encouraged healthy eating habits. being mindful and aware of healthy eating habits, and not being like Naziistic, like, oh, you have to eat healthy every day, otherwise you shall be punished, or any nonsense like that. It's like, no, like, we always had healthy food when we could, and we weren't exactly rich. I mean, we lived off of two basic incomes, and actually my dad kind of struggled to find a job because he focused on photography and wanted to be a professor and such, but there's not a whole lot of money in that, and actually the industry itself is constantly changing. Like, what it used to take to be a photographer, like if he was alive and around now and saw like what, like, I can basically take pictures of anything and make it look really nice. I'm playing a video game where the scenery can elicit those similar feelings of awe and enthusiasm and just excitement of, look how beautiful this place is, and it's blocks. It's a bunch of blocks. Like, it's not realistic at all, but it has just enough tendencies of the real world, or hints of the real world, where it's like, oh, I mean, like, can you imagine if I was just building something like this just in a day, just like constructed a giant temple with what looks like marble? I mean, it's diorite, which I feel like I need to check that out. Geology is possibly my favorite subject, but what actual diorite looks like, I'm not too sure. I want to say it's like white with black speckles, but either way, I mean, it's just a quick Google search away, which, even in my lifetime, the information was not that readily available. Like, you didn't have Google. Like, you didn't even have internet. I mean, we got internet when I was, I want to say, getting ready for middle school. Or no, no, I did a report on the internet in fourth grade. I brought in a Duke Nukem CD, because I still played computer games. It was just like playing online with other people just didn't seem real. Like, no, you had to go to someone's house to play, or you had to do a LAN party, which, Google some images of LAN parties, and you'll see some epic humanities problem solvings where it's like, I got to get this big expensive machine over to there, but you got to be careful transporting it because it's really easy to break said machine. And then you learn all of these different things. Same with audiovisual people, or roadie crews that would help with like musicians playing concerts and stuff. You have to deal with all this technical equipment. You have to do it properly. Also, wait, where are we at with this one? Okay, we're almost done. I'm doing laundry and I'm getting geared up to go do. Been doing a lot of Elden Ring with a buddy, and so I think we're gonna be doing that most of the day. But I wanted to get these out, just kind of start a new season, get some new thinking put down, pen on paper, as it were, and just record these thoughts and ideas. That's what these musings are. It's just me playing Minecraft, solving problems, writing things down, eventually putting them into like Google Docs or easier or better medium, so other people can be like, oh, I see what he's talking about here, and then maybe act on it. That's the biggest thing, is community. Like, we need to make communal efforts to fix global problems together. And it's easy. It's easy nowadays. I mean, like, so a very low-hanging fruit, something I did. I made a video, a Minecraft video, some kid, I think from India, and I feel kind of bad because some of these topics are a little too advanced. I'd say like kids shouldn't be worrying about it, but I still want to present it in a way that, if my own kiddos stumbled across it, it wouldn't be like scarring or anything. It'd be like, oh, okay, that makes sense, or oh wow, that's kind of creepy. Because kids are not dumb. Like, kids already know a lot of these problems are going on. All they need are like older siblings, or it doesn't take much for some kid to be like, oh, that's what's going on. Also, can I? All right, I guess I can run from a little bit here. But anyways, and a lot of it's happening too. Like, um, the idea of like, well, how far do I want to go in that? We got like 2 minutes. I usually try to do about a minute. I try to do about 30 minutes on these things. So let's see. Ramble for about a minute about, like, why did Hitler do what he did, or why did America allow slavery, or why did this or that? There's a lot of very good questions and not the best of answers. But at the same time, answers that do make sense, like, well, people were lazy, or they didn't see the need to not do things this way until it was too late and things were already in motion. And, whatever you want to call it, business inertia or humanity inertia. Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And how broke is it to merit actually being fixed? All of these different things contributed to some of the worst problems ever possibly conceived. Oh, and there's my alarm too, to make sure I don't ramble off for an hour, because sometimes I will do that. So, anyways, ta-ta for now. Welcome to Wizard Living is Supreme, the new season, and apologies to all of those following me now and seeing me just post video after video without actually taking the time to edit them in the front end and front load good videos. I'll try to do better, no guarantees. Hope you enjoy though. Ta ta for now. Oh yeah, look at that. That's gonna be sick. It's like eventually, okay, eventually it's gonna be like flat at some places, maybe with like a little building or a shop. Like I might even put this as a whole other like little mini temple. But above all, the memorial. Show the respect where respect is due, and then do better in honor of them. Like they can't do these things. They can't make these changes. They can't teach these people to do things. They're dead. So maybe they'll help us out in the next life. Maybe there isn't a next life. I don't know. But we're going to try to fix the problems here and now of what we can fix. So, ta ta. I will see you in the next one.